Okay, well, not off to a very good start. My internet has already dropped. I didn't promote this stream at all. I did not schedule this stream at all. So I might just be talking to myself for a little while. So if you're in the chat, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to be chatting with myself. So let me just make sure that that's shared on Twitter. And it is. It looks like there might be a couple of you on Twitter. I'll just start talking, I guess, unless some of you say hello in the chat. I did a very bad job of letting people know that this was happening. You get busy, you have two small kids, you have other responsibilities. That's what makes streaming difficult, to be honest. That is the cross I have to bear as a streamer. And this is going to be like a podcast, basically, where I'm just going to record to myself. And eventually, we'll see if people show up. It looks like a couple people are in the chat, though. So if you're in the chat, let me know. Say something in the chat. There's Peachy. Peachy, you are somebody that I wanted to show up today because part of the Top Shot celebrations, the birthday celebration, merch auction. All right, I think I'm back. This is actually ridiculous that my connection is this terrible. I gotta say, this is absolutely ridiculous. Metz is here. Happy birthday, he says. But yeah, Peachy. So we noticed that you were like number one or somewhere very close to the top in terms of people trying to win a Top Shot this T-shirt, and you had traded in something like $400 worth of moments for this T-shirt. So I need to get to the bottom of that, Peachy. Peachy Luro, let us know, why did you trade in $400 worth of moments for a T-shirt? If you could just let us know, that would be great. So Metz is saying that the Portuguese internet connection is shit. I don't know. Like, I never have this problem during the day. And then as soon as the evening comes for me, all of a sudden my connection is shit. I don't know if it's just the time of night or if it's the streaming software or what. I think I might have to try some different streaming software. Um, but yeah, Peachy Luro, if you could let me know in the chat your thinking behind the $400 of trade-ins for a T-shirt, I'd like to know. Met says no. All those comments were inflated. They were all 8K moments with a $20 average sale. Okay. So then it was actually $20 of moments, you're saying? If that's the case, then yeah, that's fine. If it was $20 a moments, then that's not a big deal. And some common moments had average sales of like $140. Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then that doesn't feel quite as surprising then. So, I mean, let's just run down though. We can start running things down. I feel like we have some things that we can cover to talk about the Top Shot birthday, right? So here is the blog post that they made in celebration of this happy birthday event. And also, by the way, it looks like this is the theme. It's interesting to take a look at like the theme of the season of the series. And if this is the theme, I think that's pretty cool. It's kind of like a graffiti street ball kind of theme. It does feel related to like street basketball, that kind of a thing. So then in this blog post, they pretty much just talk about the top everything on the platform, the top buys, the top transacted moments. So these were obviously to get your like rookie rewards. All those rookie moments were the most transacted. You have Panini collector Spinotron, who had the top acquisition in the last year. And honestly, that is a really interesting thing to think about too, because as we continue on here, and we saw that Panini obviously lost their license, and so now they have what's known as pajama cards. I saw another guy who he's kind of like a Panini fudder. He's not a big Panini fan, and he was in the beginning, and I forget his username now, but he's on Twitter. Um, and he talks about the pajama cards because in the baseball Panini cards, they don't have the license. And so they'll have a Shohei Ohtani card. It'll just say Los Angeles and it won't say Angels or for now like Dodgers, let's say. And yeah, and there'll be no logos or anything, and those are called pajama cards. But what's amazing is that even these pajama cards on Panini are still doing very well. And the reason I'm talking about that is because Spinotron, big Panini player, and you can see that's the top buy on Top Shot by 3x. And that's a big purchase. And meanwhile on Panini though, it's a very heady times on Panini, and there may have been sales of that or more like in the last week. I mean, Panini's going crazy. And so it's very interesting to think about how will this affect Panini now that they've lost their basketball license? Are people still going to go for Panini? And now we're finding out that the Topps Digital is going to carry on with this NBA license. So it'll be interesting to see if those same buyers make it over to Topps, or if some of them eventually migrate over to Top Shot, because I think that's what everybody was thinking and kind of hoping for when we saw Spinotron make a huge splash on Top Shot, is that we were hoping to see more of that happen. And I still think like it still can happen. I mean, the fact is, I don't think anyone saw this coming for Panini. I sure as hell did not. And I don't think anyone saw this for Top Shot either back in, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So, I'm reading this book actually that's kind of interesting. It's called The Psychology of Money. And there's something that the author talks about, which is that when an entrepreneur or a business owner is successful, or when an entrepreneur or business owner is a failure, don't be too quick to say that the successful one did it because of skill and that the failure did it because of lack of skill or something like that. Basically saying that a lot of this stuff has to do with pure luck in a way. Like a lot of people in terms of business as well, they're all trying hard, they're all doing what they can, but something happens and the right situation occurs and they catch lightning in a bottle. And for whatever reason, that's what's happening on Panini as of right now, and for whatever reason, that's what happened to Top Shot in um, almost 5 years ago. So, I guess that means to say that you just don't know. Like this any one of these platforms could have their moment again. Panini in 21 I didn't think it was ever going to do anything. So, it is surprising to say the least. So if we continue down the road here on this blog post, interesting also that LeBron is the top 4 out of the top 5 acquisitions. Um, I'm not entirely sure. I think these rare moments, they have to. I'm guessing these are related to Fast Break, which is why so many people bought these. Unless I'm missing something about these denied moments, or actually, sorry, no, I'm wrong. That's because of Wemby, I think. The Wemby reward is probably why you have denied moments as some of the top rare moments. And then Zubats, number 1, throwdowns. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know what that's about. And then as well with like the legendaries, I'm not entirely sure why some of these guys are at the top, if it was for a reward or what that was about. And then the ultimates are all kind of similar transactions, and then you see some real sickos on this platform. I mean, someone's collecting 4,633 Kyle Lowrys. Um, Yeah, very interesting to say the least. It would be interesting to ask some of these people, why are you collecting 3,000 Marvin Bagley the thirds? What exactly is the thinking behind that one? Garrison Matthews. I'll be honest, I don't even know what team Garrison Matthews plays for. I know of Mr. Garrison, the teacher on South Park. But other than that, I don't know what's going on there. So that's all time. And in the last 12 months, you have these guys here. Matthew Deladova. There you go. Keon Ellis by this guy, Diz, the same guy that was collecting Marvin Bagley is collecting Keon Ellis. So I don't know what exactly is going on here, but it would be interesting to find out from these people why they are collecting thousands of the same moment. I do not know how to explain that one. And Perfect Serial is here, and thank you, buddy. Nice to see you. So let's continue. Most wish listed moments. Wemby on the top three. That's not surprising. That's good to see. Um, Wemby actually, no, four out of the top five. People love Wemby. I feel like if you're going to make a bet on any player on Top Shot, it does seem to be like Wemby should be the guy you're looking at. And I know Cam, aka Packtrip, was talking about this. He is kind of he likes to focus in on certain players. So I was actually going to go check Wemby in the marketplace, and then I just loaded up Top Shot, and look at that. Cooper Flag is staring at me right in the face. And we can pivot there for a second. So I don't know what exactly is going on here with this partnership. I did see AG fudding saying that this is nothing more than like a signed merch, um, a signed merch thing, and people are going to have an auction for signed merch. But honestly, we don't know. And I'm hoping that we get surprised in some way that we haven't yet anticipated, because you got to think that Top Shot and Cooper Flag is a big deal. I mean, this guy could be the next big thing. I still think it's bullshit that Dallas got that pick, but um, it said something about. Okay, so here doesn't really tell us anything. It just says we're teaming up with Cooper Flag, the face of our season, to usher in a new class of next level collectibles. So that literally doesn't tell us anything, because all that really tells us is that new rookies are coming to Top Shot. That's literally all it tells us. But if we try to do like um, a little more research here. So if we share on Twitter and we look, so there you go. Cooper Flag's here again. So it's pretty, they're doing the right thing, at least getting Cooper Flag's face everywhere. But here, okay, with customization. So this is the part that stuck out to me. I don't know yet what that means with customization, but to me, that is the only potential thing that feels very different. So we're teaming up with Cooper Flag, the face of our 25-26 season, to usher in a new class of next level collectibles with customizations fans will love. So what are customizations? Are customizations just parallels? Because it does seem like Top Shot is leaning into parallels again. If you look at the homepage again, and you can see what's going on with WNBA, and it's always a good idea to look at WNBA, because in the past, things that they've done in WNBA port over to NBA. And I saw something here the other day, although now it's not on the homepage, but they were talking about these new parallels. So where are they? I don't know. But there was like a new parallel with this color scheme. And then there was the other parallel with this color scheme. One was out of 100, I think, and one was out of 25. So it does appear that, if you ask me, that's a result of Top Shot kind of seeing what Panini's doing, and that people really enjoy parallels. Like, the real collectors enjoy parallels. When they introduced them on Top Shot, it was done in kind of I guess just in kind of a way that didn't really work. I don't know what it was exactly, but I think if you I gotta think that the people at Top Shot are looking at what Panini is doing because the amount of growth there that happened so quickly is remarkable, and it happened from nowhere. So if that's where the physical collectors that are turning to digital, if that's what they are enjoying, then I'm sure Top Shot is trying to pull whatever they can from what's going on well over there on the other platform. Um, and it's not so easy as just copying a certain feature or a certain design that the cards have on Panini because it goes beyond that. The whole reason why Panini has the um, momentum that it does, or at least a big part of it, is for whatever reason, in my estimation, the physical the physical collectors have finally decided to start going after the digital, and they are already very familiar with physical Panini. So the digital Panini does not feel like a leap whatsoever. It's literally a digital version of the card that they probably have paid top dollar for already. And that's what's different. So Top Shot at this point is a new collectible, pure and simple. It's new, it's completely different. There's no physical moments and then you're going on to Top Shot and buying the digital counterpart. Whereas in Panini, that's exactly what's going on. So that aspect of the collecting experience, especially for people, traditional physical collectors, you cannot replicate that because that has to do with um, brand and just name and image and consistency in the industry for years, and just trust that they've built in the industry for years, right? So obviously, Top Shot could have something like that, but that might not be for another decade when you start having people that have been collecting for a long time and have that whole history. Um, so LB is here. Top Shot Hot Shot is here. Let me share things that are not too fuddy duddy. But LB says parallels didn't work because they were ugly with stupid names and at a high mint count. That the end of that comment I feel is the most valid, which is that I feel like the stupid names, if they're stupid or not stupid, those don't even matter that much. I think the high mint count is what matters. I think the reason why people are flocking to Panini right now is because the mint counts, as far as I can tell, stay pretty low. And because there's all these very low mint counts, and even though I can't necessarily tell the difference between, one Jason Tatum card and another Jason Tatum card, and one is him in like a with a stained glass in a church, and the next one is him on a train, and the next one is him in a jungle, and the next one is him eating cereal, and the next one is him looking like a manga and anime, and you know, I don't know what the difference between these different cards are. I know kabooms are a big deal, but I think that the point is that these other cards have pretty low counts. I don't think there's a whole lot of Panini cards that are out of 3,000 even, 4,000, 5,000. I don't know how many of them are. I think the majority they put a lot of those low count chase cards in their packs. And I think that's why it's doing so well. But I don't know. I'd have to ask someone who understands this better than me. Stan says you can't place an offer on a parallel. Um, and Perfect says parallels contradict the purpose of this product. So tell me more about that, Perfect Cereal. Um, and LB says my Panini Tatum description is crazy, but actually true. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. And Top Shot Hot Chat says, as much as Panini has copied Top Shot these last couple of years, Top Shot deserves to copy what works over there. Agreed. Right. You can't. I mean, listen. At a certain point, you have to see what the market is telling you, and you have to act accordingly. You can't behave as if you know the market better than the market knows the market. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk, as much as he can sometimes be a pain, but go watch him with Paulie. Paulie Whiz Wit. But I used to listen to a bunch of Gary Vaynerchuk like podcasts when I would drive. I'd drive from Brooklyn to New Jersey to go visit my friend. And a few times I recall listening to Gary Vaynerchuk on these drives. But something that he would say is basically like the market is the market. The market, you can't control the market. The market's going to tell you what it wants and what it doesn't want. So it's kind of a roundabout way of saying that. Anyway, so yeah, Cooper Flag on Top Shot is a big deal. Um, and we talked with the merch. We can see that there's some auctions going on right now. Here's the NBA Top Shot this from a couple years ago. Here's Mo Wagner's game worn shoes. That's pretty cool. I mean, Mo Wagner's a badass. And then here is the Top Shot this shirt that ended. Here's a game worn Mitchell Robinson jersey. And here's the Keegan Murray game worn. And we also have Miles Turner's game worn shoes, but we didn't get to look at them. Like we can look at these game worn shoes by Mo Wagner. And by the way, I think they must wear a new pair of shoes every game. I think sometimes they swap shoes at halftime too. Like these players wear new shoes basically every game. I think this is all really cool. I think my only something that I would hope for in the future is like I guess just more of it. So, I'm a Celtics fan. Do I necessarily want a Kings or a New York Knicks game used jersey? Not really, unless it's like an all-time great, right? Like a Chris Webber Kings jersey I'd want. A Knicks jersey as a Celtics fan, there's not a whole lot of players I'd want. But it's still cool. I think it's like there should be a lot more of this. And I think part of that is also just about like putting the genie back in the bottle in terms of the high mint counts. The more we can do um, trade-ins for stuff that isn't more moments, the better. So if it's, more shirts, more sneakers, more jerseys, whatever the case may be, ideally you're at a point where you have dozens of these going on. That's ideally where you get to. And obviously that also requires um, a larger active user base and all that good stuff that ideally comes with time. But so let's take a look. Let's see where Peachy landed on this one. Peachy landed number 3 at $334 of value, even though I'm sure it was more like 20. And it looks like if you finish in the top 50, you won a shirt. Okay. So there you go. Top 50. So all the way down to here, this guy, Bronwyn, with $91 of value, gets a shirt. So all these people get shirts. Thunder Hour, he's a fan of the show. Let's see if we notice anybody else that makes it into the chat. Anybody else that we notice? Let's see. There's Paulie. There's Wizwit. And there's Peachy Luro. So yeah, I guess you can see like what Paulie submitted to get an idea. So, right. So $8 average sales price of a 60K. That's obviously not the case. That's more like a 30-cent moment. I think on Floaty. So I think like all these moments are basically 30-cent moments at the moment. At the moment. So these were 31 moments at 30 cents each is what's that? $9? Yeah, that seems like a fair deal. $9 for a t-shirt. Let's see what else if we want to just kind of take a look at what people are doing here. Oh, sorry, I haven't been checking the comments. Give me a second here. Panini has higher total mint counts when you compare all the various parallels. Yeah, and I think that shows you too that like people don't care. Like if there's enough collectors that like certain parallels, I think that was the whole idea of why Top Shot introduced parallels in the first place. Because the optimal situation with parallels is that you have enough users that decide they like collecting certain parallels on the platform. And then you have all these different segments of users. And so like even though you might have 20,000 mint count, there's enough parallels that you're going to have enough users that want to collect those specific parallels. That is the whole idea behind it. And I think that when you have enough users collecting, that may work. LB is not impressed with the trade-ins hub. He says it looks like a Chinese garage sale. I've never been to a Chinese garage sale. And by the way, similar comment. Is Top Shot now eBay? No, guys, come on. K Dunn says picks I take for eBay are better quality than this. And Stan says that they banned Mets from the Top Shot Discord. Well, I'll pour one out for Mets. Hold on. My keyboard's right here, so I can't pour it out, but I'll drink some water. How's that? That's the next best thing. So let's see. I'm curious who got his shoes. Who got Miles Turner's shoes? Let's take a look. Stalin got Miles Turner's shoes, and he gave in a legendary moment. So there you go. I mean, that's nothing to sniff at. A Brandon Miller legendary moment. I'm guessing that has to be at least a couple $100 without checking the current price of that moment. So there you go. But that's good stuff. I mean, even if you might not like the layout. I don't think the layout matters. I don't think the fact that the layout isn't very pretty matters. I don't care. They can always make that nicer. It really doesn't bother me. And Finstuck got a jersey, and what did he give in? He gave in 14 rare moments, including some pretty pricey ones. So, yeah, I'm sure that these like challenge reward LeBrons and Cade Cunningham's, those must be worth a decent price. So people are putting in some decent trade-ins for the game worn jerseys and for the shoes. So that's good to see. And again, like if we have more of that, I think that makes Top Shot a unique place. If you could like somewhat easily and straightforwardly go and burn moments for gear at a somewhat frequent rate, in my opinion, that makes Top Shot unique in a way. That's the whole future of fandom idea, in my opinion. That's a big part of what Top Shot should be. And even though you might want to scoff at it and say that it looks like eBay, that's fine. It doesn't bother me if there's an aspect of this platform that works like eBay because I think that's cool. You can get game worn stuff by using your moments. I personally don't have a problem with that. I think that's a nice way to get rid of moments off the platform. All right, I'm back. This connection is complete dog shit. I don't know why.
Stop it. Get some help.
I don't know. Kind of a merch store, isn't it? Isn't that pretty much what that is? I mean, what more do you really need? Like, I guess you just need what I was looking for, which is you just need more of it. You need more of it available more often, and that's pretty much a merch store. There's not a whole lot more to it than that, in my opinion. But you want to break some packs though? Should we break a pack? Should we rip a pack? I have a couple of these birthday packs. We could rip a birthday pack. What do you guys say? You want to watch a birthday pack rip, and let's just hope that my connection doesn't drop? Metz is asking me to ask Jacob for Google Fiber for Christmas. That is a great idea. Man, this is brutal. I don't know what the hell is going on with my internet. This is so brutal. I think I'm gonna try something different next week where I have one of these like repeater things that repeats the connection. But yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that every time I stream, my internet drops. I swear to God, this doesn't happen during the day when I'm using my computer. So I don't know what it is about streaming that makes my computer internet keep cutting out. But let's open some packs. Let's see what we can get. These are trade ticket packs that are that were part of the birthday celebration yesterday. So here we go. I mean, I'm not expecting too much. I think that the odds were slightly raised in these packs. I wonder what people are selling them for. These are trade ticket packs. All right, $3. I could just sell these for $3, but no, let's open them. Let's open them because I like opening packs. So here we go. All right, so here we go. I think we have about a 5% chance at a rare. Let's see what we can get. That's a common. That's a quickly. Emmanuel quickly. Oh, we have no sound. 3-pointer. All right. That is a Russell Westbrook. Somebody needs to put Russell Westbrook on their roster. I'm too upset that Russell Westbrook is not going to be playing in the NBA. It's bullshit. Okay, and lastly, another common. Is this there's no description on this moment. I don't know what it is. Layup. All right. Going. So there you go. These are all new moments for my collection. Okay, well, let's open one more. Padawine says $3 might get you a Nemus Keta game worn left shoelace. I would not be mad at that. Toot, toot, toot. Great music, says LB. All right, let's open one more. Here we go. This is the one. Let's actually just double check our odds here. Anything good? See, a lot of good stuff was already opened. Chet Holmgren, we got one of those in here. We got some other hollows in here. There's 20% rares left. Okay. 5% chance at a rare. That is 1 in 20. So here we go. Is today my lucky day? Will I hit a 1 in 20 shot? Tommy, Magic, Caldwell Pope. Interesting. It capped the franchise record 25 points. Let's take a look. Does the crowd go crazy? If the crowd goes crazy, let's listen to the crowd. Yeah, they did. They went pretty crazy. Debut. Cam Spencer. Cam Spencer for 3. There you go. Finally, Amen Thompson. Go. Okay, no rares, unfortunately, but we knew our odds. We knew our odds. All right. Well, that is the pack opening experience this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's skip that. So yeah, there we go. We ripped a pack. We are very curious what customization means about this Cooper Flag partnership on Top Shot. And I'd have to agree with something I saw Drew's Ventures say on Twitter, where he was saying something about how like this is really Top Shot's biggest opportunity right now because there has never been more interest from I would adjust to what he's saying a little bit, which is like there's never been more interest from actual digital collectors. Like actual card collectors that have come over to digital. There's probably never been as much hype around collecting digital sports cards as there is right now. Because when Top Shot blew up, that wasn't digital sports cards collectors that were going crazy. That was mostly Wall Street bets types, if I had to say. It was people that are like, I want to just get in on the next thing. I don't even give a shit what it is. Like if Labubus were digital and were being flipped for crazy money, you'd see the same thing. But now, I think now it's actual card collectors, at least on the Panini side. Um, I could be wrong though. That could just be the same exact thing happening again, but over on Panini, I don't know. Let's see. Was there anything else we want to talk about? We're almost at an hour. I can actually pull up that tweet. Let me see. Let's share it right here. Right. So this is what Drew wrote. He said, "When I get back from this never-ending Asia and now Middle East trip, I am locking in for the upcoming NBA Top Shot season." By the way, what did you guys think about the Riyadh Comedy Festival? You know what? I honestly don't know what to think about it. Like on its surface, I don't know if you guys saw that, but Riyadh and Saudi Arabia, like Riyadh is trying to make itself the new Las Vegas. All the boxing matches are happening in Riyadh. There's a ton of money being given to these people in Riyadh. So you got to imagine all these comedians, your Louis C.K.'s, your Bill Burrs, your Kevin Hart. You know, these guys are well paid. And some of these guys like Pete Davidson, you know, these guys may not even if those guys do a great gig and they might make a couple $100,000, you got to imagine Riyadh is probably like, okay, I'll give you $1 million. I'll fly you private. I'll put you in the best hotel you've ever stayed in. You'll eat like a king. You'll do like an hour set and you'll make $1 million or more. And I can't blame these comedians for taking the money, honestly. Even though one guy, Shane Gillis, said no. And but what some people though in the comments were saying about this is like, you know, you act all high and mighty, but the US is basically like in bed with Saudi Arabia. The US does arms deals and all types of sketchy stuff with Saudi Arabia, has been doing it for decades, and vice versa. Like the US and the Saudi Arabia have a business relationship. So to act all holier than thou now doesn't really quite add up, but it's fun to think about. It's fun to create controversy that these guys are taking all this money to go perform for some ethically questionable rich audiences. I like a good shit show. What can I say? All right, so here we go. Drew was saying, when I get back from this never ending Asia and now Middle East trip, I am locking in for the upcoming NBA Top Shot season. Many of you haven't paid attention to Top Shot in a while. There are many factors contributing to the fact that this will be its biggest season yet. I'd like to know what the he said many factors. I'd like to know actually what those many factors are, just out of curiosity. He says, I'll share the journey as I go. Digital sports cards and collectibles are absolutely inevitable. As of today, Top Shot has put 5 years of NBA history on chain. Literally nothing else compares, especially now that Panini has lost its NBA contract. If you have questions on what to invest in or collect, feel free to DM. Where's the not financial advice disclaimer, Drew? If you would like to join a group chat of positive Top Shot community members, all as excited as I am about the upcoming season, get in touch. Happy to extend an invite. Top Shot has learned a lot from the past 5 years. You are going to see the results of those learnings this season. The one question I have that remains, should the symbol be Top Shot Str? I guess that must be something to do with these coins that these projects are releasing. Let's effing go. In Cooper Flag, we trust. So let's just see if anything is interesting in these comments. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to know more. I'd love to know more, and I'd love to know what is the big idea behind here. Um, and I think that like every time there's a new series, it makes sense in this community to be like cautiously optimistic. Like there pretty much needs to be a whole lot of pudding because the proof is in the pudding. Cover us in pudding. Let us bathe in pudding. K-Don said, don't diss Labubu's. My missus went to queue up at 6 a.m. to get hers months ago. She is of age. Okay, I'm glad to know that K-Don's missus is of age. But it's true. Like, I still don't understand Labubu's. I haven't really spent too much time actually looking at it. Like, what are Labubu's really expensive? I don't know, and I don't know enough about Labubu's to be honest. And I guess I don't care. But yeah, I'm looking on Google right now. You can see that Labubu's, authentic Labubu, 300 euros, 215 euros. Can you buy them? Can you just buy them on Amazon? No, those are clothing for Labubu's. Pop Mart. I mean, this is like European Portugal version, so I don't know. 36. These look like they're probably not real if they're $30. Hype Vision. That seems like it might be the right price, right? 220 effing euros for a little doll of a Labubu? And they're evil looking too. I don't understand why people like these so much. I don't get it. I like Beanie Babies more, to be honest. Let's see, are Beanie Babies still a thing, by the way? Can we buy Beanie Babies? No. They don't want me. With my Portuguese internet, they don't want me to do it. My Portuguese internet is cursed. I've seen kind of big-eyed Beanie Babies. I remember Beanie. Yeah, Peachy says Super Bowl, Bad Bunny. That's right. Bad Bunny. One of the coolest Bad Bunny things I've ever seen? I'm sure if Alexo's watching, he'll know. But Bad Bunny WWE entrance. This is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. So Bad Bunny wrestles. This is just so cool. This was in Puerto Rico. He was facing against this other guy and Damian Priest, I think his name. And he comes out to his own music and the whole crowd sings along to it. And he actually did a really good job wrestling, actually. I don't watch everything when I talk about wrestling, but I look at clips. But I think you should just take a look at this. It's pretty bad. Anyway, that was one of the coolest wrestling clips I've ever seen. Stan says, imagine living in Puerto Rico, not liking his crap music and having to hear it all the time. I was thinking about that too, Stan. A year ago, for my wife's birthday, we went to Ibiza. And I was in this shuttle from the airport, and they were playing like that shitty house music, that repetitive, shitty house music. And it was the whole ride. And I thought to myself, imagine living in Ibiza and not liking shitty house music. And then you got to listen to it all the time. Literally, they listen to shitty house music all over that island. Uh, anyway, what else? Anything else we need to cover, guys? The baseball playoffs are actually pretty interesting. There's this guy named Wart. What's his name? Hog something? Hogdale. Hogdale. I don't know if you saw this, but this is awesome. So I am a very bandwagon Red Sox fan at this point. I did not watch a single Red Sox game the entire year. I am just a complete bandwagon. I'm the worst kind of fan in a way. But I want to try to find you this call by this kid. So this kid, he's a Red Sox fan living in, I believe it was Iowa. So he's a Red Sox fan because like his dad is from Boston. And he just calls games in his basement, which is perfect. I mean, that's like the whole idea behind the internet in a way. So anyway, New York to call the game with all those, but this was basically his call. It was just so good. It's like, this is what the internet is all about. So here's his call when the Red Sox won game 1 against the Yankees.
Oh, I feel like my fucking heart's going to explode. 2-2 pitch from Chapman. Swung on, he missed! He fucking strikes him out! He gets out of it! And the Sox win game 1!
Fucking internet. Oh my Lord, the internet is so bad. I cannot get over how bad oh my God. All right, you guys hear me? This is driving me crazy. I think all right, I think the internet's working now, but this is so stupid. Oh my God. All right, let's try this one more time, guys. Jesus Christ, I can't deal with this internet anymore.
Fucking heart's going to explode. 2-2 pitch from Chapman. Swung on, he missed! He fucking strikes him out! He gets out of it! And the Sox win game 1! They win game 1! The Yankees choke it! Chapman escapes! They win it 3-1! Suck my fucking dick! Eat shit! Let's go! Let's go! Oh, I feel like my fuck.
So there you go. I really like that call. Let's play a fist bump for Stan Loves.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Losing my religion. Trying to keep up with you. And I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough.
Oh yes. Yeah, so watch game 3 of the wild card versus the Boston Red Sox versus the New York Yankees. That's tonight. It's going to be really late for me, so I probably will not be watching that. But if you guys don't watch baseball, usually this would be the time to do it. This is the time where baseball gets interesting, playoffs, and Celtics. Red Sox Yankees is about as a classic of a rivalry you could possibly ask for. And whoever wins the game tonight will move on to face the top seed in the East this year, which was the Toronto Blue Jays. I always have a soft spot in my heart for the Blue Jays because my uncle is a big baseball fan and he is in Toronto. So if there's nothing else, though, guys, if you have nothing else you guys want to talk about, then we'll call it a night for me, at least. One other thing we like to talk about the cryptocurrency over here, and that is taken off today. So let's take a look at that real quick. As you can see, this is the chart for Ethereum and Bitcoin side by side. You can see how they are moving pretty similarly to each other today, just absolutely rocketing today. The day started around, I don't know, like the morning was like right around here. So Ethereum starts at 4,280. It's almost the end of the day and it's already up 4,480. Same thing with Bitcoin. Started around here, 116 and a half. It's at 120 and a half. I believe the all-time high for Bitcoin is 124. And the all-time high for Ethereum, yeah, we got to go quite a bit up higher for Ethereum. We're almost 5,000 for Ethereum, but we are not far away. So yeah, the high on Bitcoin, 124 and a half. The high on Ethereum, 4,955. So the day that Ethereum hits $5,000 will be a sight to see. That's for sure. If we go look at the daily chart, I got like crazy looking shit everywhere, but there, we'll take that off. Yeah, the daily chart, Bitcoin is pretty much destined to go right here, which is at its all-time high. And the next pivot point for Ethereum is right here. So it'll be interesting. If Bitcoin can hit its all-time high and keep going, so what often happens is you see these supply and demand zones. So if we were to draw a zone, it'd probably be like right there. What often happens with this kind of stuff is that it hits one of these zones and rejects it. So what you want to see Bitcoin do is you want to see Bitcoin go past this zone, retest it, and continue. That would be like healthy. How do I get off this thing? That would be like healthy market structure. So if Bitcoin is able to do this, then it's very, very possible that you'll see Ethereum take out its all-time highs as well. The only thing that I'm a little bit cautious about right now in terms of prices of crypto is that the market, like the equity market, so like the S&P, is just so overbought at right now, right? This thing just doesn't go down. It just continues up forever. And like I just don't know. Eventually, you can't call tops, especially with the S&P, but holy crap, man. This thing doesn't slow down. And you have to think that eventually it's going to. Eventually, like there has to be a correction eventually. And right now there's like we just go straight up. Like this was the dump here, was like the tariffs, I think. This was the tariff dump here. And then we just bought that all the way back up and we're back at all-time highs. And down here was COVID. That was the COVID dump. And look how long that lasted. Not very long. So it started in like late February. We had already completely moved beyond it in August. Like there is no meaningful pullbacks. I guess maybe there's just never going to be meaningful pullbacks. I don't know. Like if you look at the yearly chart of the S&P, hold on. You had like this right here from 2000, that was the dot-com bubble. From 2000 to 2003, that was basically 3 years of negative returns on the S&P. And then here in 2008, that was the mortgage crisis. That was a big crash. But ever since then, like the bears can't really do jack shit. I mean, that's a red candle. That's like a very weak red candle. Another one, weak. Another one didn't really do much. This one here in 22, that was pretty significant. But then again, look, we just keep on climbing up here. So yeah, I don't know. It seems pretty bullish for crypto actually. If the S&P is never going to have a legitimate downturn, then I feel like crypto is just going to keep on going. And Walking Taurus says, who cares about that boomer Bitcoin? In flow, we trust. Well, I'll bring up flow. We can take a look. Flow, not really. I mean, not performing quite like Bitcoin, although it's a very different looking chart. We need to go at a smaller time frame. Let's see what flow is doing currently. So currently, flow is looking similar to Bitcoin. So like it's moving with Bitcoin. Like if you're trading flow, I would say that the good news for flow is that this just the same way that Bitcoin had this like a bit of a base. So you see how we're talking about the supply and demand areas. If you make a box like around here, you see how price dipped into it, came back, dipped into it, came back, dipped into it. And if you do the same thing on flow, like that area is right around here. So it broke below, but now it's coming back. So I'd say like if you are trading flow, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that we might see it hit this next pivot, which is 42 cents. Stan, only need a 1 million X for Tandy to recoup from $27. Luckily, I tax loss harvested my flow purchase. But yeah, that was not one of my brightest moments in terms of investing, that's for sure. I should have DM'd Drew Ventures first to ask him what to do. Anyway. Oh God, K Don, how dare you talk about goated goats, you bastard. I think I wasted like at least $300 into that garbage. I feel so ripped off by that one. Flow trading advice might be your new niche, said Pathwine. Hey, I bet there are people trading flow. I mean, people trade everything. People trade absolutely everything. And there's actually another coin that people are trading right now, I think called Zcash. This one? Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh. Straight up. It's something to do with like a privacy coin. I can't follow these things, man. I got to be honest. So one of you guys needs to cover all these altcoins and keep us informed because I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what this stuff is. I don't know what Zcash is. And K Dunn bought a Kobe jersey for his goat for $400 worth of Top Shot moments. It sounds like a fair trade now, he says. Okay, done. We just live in a very speculative area. We play in a very speculative sandbox. What can I say? Walking Tour says the whole flow supply wasn't unlocked until like last fall. So I guess that means nowhere to go but up. And Stan says Zcash is an old tech privacy coin. Well, it's definitely having its moment right now. Isn't the other one like Monero? Is that what it's called? Monero? Is that it? Monero. Isn't that another privacy one? Monero? Yeah, so like I think privacy coins seem to be doing well. I don't 100% understand these narratives though of all these crypto coins. I mean, I'd love to understand it. If any of you are crushing it on altcoins, then you better speak up. Help the rest of us make some money. You know what I'm saying? Times are hard on the boulevard. If you guys know how to read all these other altcoins, you guys need to speak up. But like what's interesting here, again, we can start drawing boxes. Is Monero. Look how it just consolidated forever. Oh, I don't know why the box does this crazy thing here. Come on, box. Right? Look at this. That whole zone was just complete chop, right? You have your highs and your lows, and it just keeps on chopping up and down. So if you were keeping an eye on Monero, although this is a weekly chart, though, you'd have to have some patience here. But as soon as basically, like, let's say you're trading Monero on the weekly chart, as soon as it breaks out, like the safe thing to do on this kind of a breakout play, when you have all this like consolidation, you look for the break and retest. So it's easy to talk in hindsight though, but you can see what happens. It breaks out and then retests. Like if it were me taking this trade, I would probably get in somewhere around here, or maybe even up here, and then be in drawdown for weeks. You'd be in drawdown for weeks because then there's another choppy area right here. And then as that choppy area breaks out above here, above 247, you're absolutely golden. And then funny enough, what are we talking about key levels, right? Look at the key level. This thing doesn't see the key level. It breaks out. And what does it do? It eventually retests and now it's gone. So like on that retest, as soon as we see this hammer candle right here, that's a nice place to get in. And then if you want your stop, you could set it here. You could set it like even down here if you want to be a little more loose with your stop. But this break and retest is a very classic entry pattern. Zcash sounds like a Mike Zakarian scam, says Bothawine. And Stan Love says, yeah, Monero is better, but it's banned because it's too private. Well, it's too private, but it seems to be doing just fine as a coin that's too private. I mean, you could go on a decentralized exchange and play Monero if you wanted to. Anyways, everybody, we are over an hour. I can't believe it. And we talked about a few different subjects and we ended talking about altcoins because that is fun to do. But thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. We still have this streaming set up for a couple more weeks. And then after that, I got to figure out what to do because I don't want to spend like $20 to $40 a month on streaming. And there's free ways to do it. It's just not as pretty, but I'll figure something out. So thanks to you all. By the way, when are we going to see this t-shirt on the auction block? Thanks for showing up though, guys. I really do think that's really nice of you all to show up. It's very nice. It's nice to just all be together like this virtual room. But that's it from me. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry for the continued technical difficulties. And we will talk soon. Take care, everybody.